Alright guys, so just a real short video here. Just wanted to see what we're doing in the lab today. So I've got my electrolytic cell, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about these in a little later video, but we're actually driving this reaction using a battery. And so I've got this cell set up. I've got my variable resistor right down here, right, which should allow me to adjust the amperage. And then I've got my cathode and my anode, and if you look really closely you can see the buildup of copper, right? So that's the copper being deposited on that electrode, and so we're monitoring. Unfortunately, my amps are kind of going all over the place. I think it's a combination of not being the greatest amp meter ever, and I'm not sure that a 9-volt battery is the best way to go for this particular experiment, but we'll see what we get with the data, and if we need to repeat it, we will. But just so that you have an idea of what the setup for this particular lab looks like, something like this. Okay. Alright, so the cell we were looking at before is a neat experiment, because not only are we going to get to calculate Faraday's constant, but we're also going to get to experimentally determine Avogadro's number, which is pretty cool. But I just wanted to show you one of the more practical applications of the idea of electrolytic cells, and that is electroplating. So this is a simpler cell. I don't have the amp meter and the potentiometer set up. It's just a battery connected here to the electrolytic cell, and on the one side I've got my copper electrode, and on the other side, instead of having a copper electrode, I put a quarter. So I'll show you what this looks like. This is going to look pretty rough, but what you can see there, all that pink, right, is actually copper that has now plated this quarter, and you can see it's also plated my my alligator clip. So I'm going to leave that in there for a little bit. I'm going to come back, I'm going to polish it up, and I'll show you guys what you can what it looks like when you can actually plate something in a new metal. Alright guys, so I'm done electroplating my quarter here. So this is a Liberty quarter, and you can see it's kind of that pink color. That is copper that's been plated on there. It's kind of crusty looking, and so I'm a little bit nervous that it's not adhered very well to the quarter. I'm going to try and buff this out so that it looks nice and shiny, and it'll look a lot cooler, but the copper itself may actually rub off. So before I do that, I just wanted to show you what it looks like before I buff it, if the copper happens to flake off instead of adhering to the coin underneath. Okay, but you can see nice even coating of all that copper on there via electrolysis. So, alright, so the good news is it actually shined up pretty well, and you can see it there next to a standard quarter, and it's definitely taken on that kind of copper hue. I'll try and flip them over here one-handed. Okay, the one is a Liberty quarter, so the backs aren't the same, but again, you can just, the back shined up a little bit better than the front, and you can see how much of that copper color now is present on the coin on the right, again, through that electroplating process. So check out the lab, take a look at the data. I'll have some videos on the overview and the calculations along shortly. Alright guys, talk to you later.